I just got off the phone with someone from Fidelity, which is where my 401k and my Roth IRA are held. He did this whole retirement analysis thing to show me my progress so far with saving for retirement. He told me that just with what I have in the account so far, if I stopped contributing today, by the time I turn 60, I would basically be able to cover all of my monthly expenses. If I just stopped contributing today and just left what's in there so far in there to grow until I'm 60, I'm 22 now, I would be able to cover my monthly expenses. And obviously I'm gonna keep contributing. So if that is not motivation to open that Roth IRA or up your contributions on your 401k, I do not know what is. I have a whole new motivation towards this because now I can really see why it matters to invest early and aggressively.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
Roth IRA, you pay taxes now, and then when you pull it out, there's no taxes later. Makes sense is because later on, you're being taxed on the invested amount versus with the Roth IRA, you're being taxed on what you just put in. So if you put in $7,000, you're being taxed $7,000, but then you invest that $7,000 and that could turn into $3 million in the next 30 years. And then you don't want to be taxed on $3 million. So it makes more sense to be taxed now the younger you are. Retirement accounts essentially just help you save for the future. It's a way to invest. It has tax advantages like getting taxed now or getting taxed later. You can pick one with traditional or Roth. The earlier you start, obviously, the better it is. Essentially, it just helps you to be better off when you're older. There are employee-sponsored plans like a 401k or a 403. And obviously, if you're in the military, there's the TSP. You are contributing pre-tax dollars. So it comes directly out of your paycheck before they take taxes out. And most of the time, your employer will match it. I know for sure in the military, they match 5%. And then a 403b is if you work for a nonprofit. It's the same thing as a 401. And I think also nonprofit schools as well. So retirement options for self-employed individuals that are called SEP IRAs or SEP. So yeah, that's if you have a business or if you are self-employed. Those are the better options, I would say. My biggest suggestion is to maximize your contributions. So for Roth IRAs and regular IRAs, you can contribute up to $7,000 if you're under the age of 65 or 60, I believe, and then you can do $8,000 if you're older. And then for your 401k, you can add up to $23,000 and up to 23 plus 7, 30,000 if you're over the age of 50 or older. So yeah, I mean, put the $7,000 in. I know you may think you can't do it, but just say no to the coffee. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, obviously I'm just doing the research and spitting it out for you guys. You guys follow for more. I will see you in the next one.
One of the ways that I was able to increase my net worth by over $400,000 in about 5 years was by using my boring old retirement account. So we are breaking down the different retirement accounts. We just did 401k. Now let's talk about IRAs. IRAs are individual retirement accounts, meaning that they are your individual account. They are not tied to an employer. That means anyone who has earned income, who has money coming in, can go and open an IRA online. It takes 10 minutes. There are two main types of IRAs, a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. We're gonna break those down in separate videos, but here's a few things that apply to all IRAs. First, contribution limits. You can only contribute up to $7,000 per year to your IRA. And the IRS looks at an IRA as an all-encompassing account. So even if you have a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, you can't do $7,000 in a traditional and $7,000 in a Roth. You could do $3,500, but it's $7,000 to an IRA account. If you're over the age of 50, you can actually do a catch-up contribution, which just means that you can contribute an extra $1,000 to your IRA if you're over 50. And keep in mind, with a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, these are just accounts. These are not investments themselves. That means that you open the account, you put money into the account, and then you have to buy investments. So many people think that a Roth IRA is an investment, and that's just not true. And if you don't buy investments inside of these accounts, your money isn't going to grow. All right, the next two videos, we'll do traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. Let me know what questions you have down below.
I had a friend similarly ask about this recently, so let's just break it down. We are going to start with Roth versus traditional. Roth just means post-tax money, and traditional is pre-tax money, and you could put it into various accounts. So Roth, think of that as money in your checking account where your company paid you and they already took out taxes and then you get that money. Basically, that's Roth money. Traditional is pre-tax, so they are going to take money out of your paycheck, and then the remaining amount, that is what they're going to calculate taxes on. Now, IRA versus 401k. Anyone can open an IRA as long as you have some amount of income. There are limits, but we're just going to stick with the lower end here. So a child who walks dogs or mows lawns can open an IRA. And that IRA, for most people, it makes sense to be a Roth IRA. You've already paid taxes on that money because if you're young, that money has so many years to grow. It's going to grow really big. Let's say you put in $1,000 right now, but by the time you're 65 and you want to take out that money, let's say now that's worth $100,000. Let's say you didn't put any money in $100,000 and you don't have to pay any taxes on that. So that's really cool. 401k, that's typically through an employer. If you're self-employed, there's ways you can open it on your own. And with that, I had a financial advisor tell me that typically early in your career, you also want that to be a Roth 401k is a good idea, because the thought process is now of, if I'm really early in my career, I'm not making a lot of money, let me pay taxes on it now because it really won't be that much. But I'm assuming that my career, that I'm going to be really good, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder, and I'm going to be making more money at some point later in your career, then it could be a good idea to switch to a traditional 401k. So hope this helps. Let me know if you have any more questions.
Guys, just like anything in life, you have to strategize. If you're young, have a Roth IRA, because you know that over time you will make a lot more money per year and your money has time to really grow. But if you are about 40 years old or older, then I'd say have a traditional IRA. That is what you should really do. Based on how old you are, you should really strategize to how you can maximize your returns when you retire.
All right, raise your hand if you've never taken a personal finance class or didn't pay attention because it was high school and you had better things to worry about. Yeah, same. So if you don't have people teaching you or talking to people all the time about your personal finance, because that's not really a topic of conversation, you need to know how to invest your money, because inflation is rising and your bank account is probably going down the other way because you're just saving your money in a regular savings account. Number one is, at least you need to move your money from a regular savings account at like a Wells Fargo or wherever it is to a high yield savings account. High yield savings account is literally the same thing. It's a savings account that just earns you interest every single month and then gets added to your bank account. This was the biggest eye-opening thing for me when I realized, wait, it was that simple to move my money from one bank to another and earning hundreds of dollars a month that was just sitting in my bank. That was step number one. That's what really opened my eyes to personal finance and investing, because I was like, if this is so easy to do, what else could I be doing in order to make more money on the money that's just sitting there? Because I want to make my money work for me. I don't want to just work my whole life and just save. And when I could be having my money be working for me in the markets or wherever else. So what you need to be doing, hopefully you have your 401k in your work and you're getting at least your match, because that's step number one, is to try to do that, because that is free money. Next, I want you to open a Roth IRA. So if you don't make over, I think it's like 150 something per year, okay, 150,000. I'm a teacher. That's very far away, if ever, probably not. But the max is 7,000 a year. So $583 a month to go to your Roth IRA, which is after tax money, which is getting put into this retirement account. You cannot touch it until 59 and a half without a lot of penalties. But the ability of compound growth in this account, the earlier you start, is crazy. If you don't believe me, put into ChatGPT, I'm X years old, I have X amount of years left in order to max out my Roth IRA, 7,000 a year, with an average annual return of 10%, because that is what the S&P 500 has brought back over the last 90, 100 years. Put that in ChatGPT, find out how much your account will have be contributed, so how much money you've put into that account versus how much is in that account when you go to take that money out. It is crazy. I've done this many times with my friends. I'm like, how old are you? How many more years do you have to invest? And even though you can take it out at 59 and a half, that doesn't mean you're taking it all out as a lump sum. So you can still have time to invest that money even when you're 59 and a half. You can start the 4% rule, which is taking 4% out a year. So investing into a Roth IRA is number one. That means you're just going to open an account with any brokerage, Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab.
That's it. And then once you do that, click open an account, Roth IRA. It'll ask you questions. It'll make you link your bank account to the Roth IRA account. I personally have mine in Vanguard. Then it's going to make sure that you can prove that your bank is linked to your Roth IRA. Then you're ready to invest. All right, $583 a month. Once you have that money in your Roth IRA, that is not being invested. I don't know who needs to hear that, but a lot of times people think it's in the settlement fund, which is just the money sits in your Roth IRA. It's not being invested. It can still earn a little bit of interest, so the number can change a little bit. So that makes people think, oh, my money's being invested. No, you need to actually go and buy ETFs, index funds, and whatever you want in that account. So what I do, click buy ETFs. It says, what's the ticker number? I'll put VOO, which is my favorite ETF. It's the S&P 500 ETF, Vanguard's. And once I do that, to make it simple, you can put 583 towards that dollar amount into VOO and then hit submit. Might ask you a couple more questions, but that's as easy as it gets. That is how you're going to invest for your future. That is the simplest, most diversified fund. I also invest in a bunch of other ETFs as well, but for starters, that's what I would do. That is the simplest way to do it. Open a Roth IRA, invest in VOO.
Things I've learned as an adult. You need a Roth IRA. It's literally the best thing you can possibly do for yourself in your entire lifetime. I'm so serious. To dumb it down, a Roth IRA is a retirement account that you set up and you put money in it, and that money that you put in it, you have to invest it. That's the most crucial step in the process. You have to invest that money if you want it to grow. The money that you put in there, you invest it and it grows exponentially over time. And it's called compound interest. It's called compounding. That's the technical term, I guess. Anyways, if you don't have one now, I strongly urge you to go open one. The 3 most popular places you can open a Roth IRA is Fidelity, which is who I have, Vanguard, and Charles Schwab. There's no one that's really just way better than the other. You just got to do your research and see which one you like the most, and then you set up an account with them, and then boom, you're done. Now you get to put money in there and invest. All you have to do to invest is you just take the money from your bank account, you transfer it to your Roth IRA. The money you just put in your Roth IRA, you pick something to invest in. The safest option that people usually go with is the S&P 500, but you can easily invest in anything on the stock exchange if you want to. The earlier you start investing, the better, because your money has more time to grow. If you're in your early 20s or even like 18, you could easily retire at 65 because you can only take this money out when you turn 65. But you could easily retire with $3 million if you start investing now, this year. If you feel like you don't have enough money, well, babe, I'm a college student. You could literally invest as little as $5. I invest $25 a month, but that's just me right now because, funds is low. I'm no financial advisor. I'm just here to spread good information that is helping / has helped me. With all that said, go set up a Roth IRA like yesterday. Meow. Anyways, that's all. Bye.
If you're able to start investing in your 20s, by the time that you actually retire, you will be very wealthy. You would be worth about $1 to $4 million if you're really consistent with it, and if you start in your 20s. Guys, over the years, things can really scale. Things always scale. So it is really good to just see how things can play out for you, and I'm sure that you'll be very surprised. A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
You still have time until April 15th, you guys, to pay yourself versus Uncle Sam. A lot of people don't know this, which surprises me, that if you have to pay a lot of money in taxes, you can talk to your CPA and ask them, hey, how much money do I have to put into a traditional IRA in order to help lower my taxes? What that does for you is that puts more money into your pocket and you don't give all of that away to Uncle Sam. Now, if you get a refund, you can actually put that money towards a Roth IRA, and instead of just paying your bills or spending that money, you can actually put that towards making a lot more money where it'll be completely tax-free. If you are looking to open a traditional Roth IRA, you still have time until April 15th. If you're not sure where to go, how to do that, shoot me a DM, shoot me a message. Let's get connected, meet on Zoom, and I would love to share more. The way that it works is if you work as a W-2 employee, you get taxed on whatever you make, and then the rest you get to keep, right? When you're self-employed, you make everything that you make, then you write it off, and then you get taxed on the remainder. So until April 15th, don't forget that if you pay a lot or you owe a lot in taxes, that you can ask your CPA, hey, can I open up a SEP IRA? Can I open up a traditional IRA to pay myself versus paying Uncle Sam? Because when you pay yourself, you get to keep it for your retirement. When you pay Uncle Sam, you say, bye-bye, money that I made, I will never see you again. A Roth IRA is the only account in America that is tax-free. So if you're like, I want to pay because I'm trying to buy a house next year, or I don't have to pay, or I'm getting a refund, that's the money that you can put towards a Roth IRA, which is going to grow completely tax-free, everything you put in and all the growth.
A traditional IRA allows you to invest with pre-tax dollars, similar to a 401k. And yes, this money can grow tax deferred. This means the IRS does not tax your gains until you make a withdrawal. There is no maximum income limit in order to open a traditional IRA. But if you want to avoid the fees and the penalties, you gotta wait until you're 59 and a half. And just remember, with the traditional, when you pull that money out, you will pay taxes.
5 things you should know about a Roth IRA. 1, anyone can open a Roth IRA account as long as you are earning money and paying taxes. 2, the term Roth means that you will pay taxes on the money today, but then in the future when you go to withdraw, all of that money will be tax-free. 3, you cannot withdraw money from your Roth IRA account until age 59 and a half. There are some loopholes, but it's for another time. 4, the maximum amount you can contribute to this account in 2022 is $6,000. 5, unlike a traditional IRA, there's no RMD or required minimum distribution on a Roth IRA. An RMD is basically a rule from the IRS stating that you have to start withdrawing money out of your IRA at a certain age. The reason that there is no RMD on a Roth IRA is a benefit is because your money could sit in there longer and compound for longer. A great problem to have if you don't need to start withdrawing at a specific age. And the last thing that you need to know about an IRA is that there is an income limit making you eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA. If you're making more than $214,000 as a married couple filing jointly, or $144K as a single person, you are not eligible to contribute to a Roth IRA. Once again, there is a loophole called a backdoor Roth IRA if you were over those income limits and wanting to contribute to a Roth IRA.
One of the things that I actually like about this country at times is that there's always loopholes to things. If you really want to do a specific thing, you can find ways to do it. And it is usually the rich who do this, but honestly though, if you can do it, you probably would.
This is why my jaw is on the floor when I find out that some of you don't have a Roth IRA. I was scrolling the internet and I found this graphic that shows how your money grows in a Roth IRA over a long period of time. You see in the graphic that after contributing $7,000 for 10 years, $70,000 now turns into over 6 figures. Other end of the spectrum, you can see that after contributing $7K for 40 years, $280,000 is now in the millions, maybe even close to 2. These numbers are calculated with an 8% return and the market varies from 7 to 10, so these numbers are bound to vary. Here is another graphic that shows how much interest is earned over the years of investing in a Roth IRA. All that baby blue you see is all interest gained over the years of investing in a Roth IRA. And if you don't know what an IRA is, it stands for Individual Retirement Account, and essentially there's the Roth and there's the traditional. The traditional is tax deferred and the Roth is tax free, which means your money will grow tax free and you can withdraw it at 59 and a half tax free. There are plenty of banks that you can choose to bank with to open a Roth IRA, but I definitely suggest opening one, especially if you are in your early 20s. Saving for retirement is so important and the best time to start is now.
This girl is 27 and has $200,000 in her Roth IRA, which I think is incredible. Most 20-somethings do not have $200,000 in their Roth IRA. I'm 41 and I don't even have $200,000 in my Roth IRA, so I'm starting to feel a little behind after reading this. I'm curious, what do you guys have in your Roth? Do you have a Roth? I'm feeling really behind now. So one of my goals for next year, 2025, is to contribute the max amount to my Roth, which we haven't been doing. We just haven't been able to, but I'm really going to work on that because, wow, $200,000 at 27, that is super impressive. When I was 27, we did own our first house, but all of our extra savings went to buy that house. And we had student debt that we were still paying off. We also had a child, which you know those are expensive. And then I've stayed home pretty much for the last 15 years. So it is hard to put money back for retirement, but I know I'm gonna wish I did when I'm at retirement age. So I'm curious, do you guys have $200K in your retirement if you are 40 plus? Because I don't.
I got a fresh retire, y'all see it. But anyway, money minute today, keep it under 60 seconds. I was talking to my coworker a while ago, And they told me that they have had a Roth IRA since they were 14 years old. They have been putting money in their Roth since they was 14. When I tell you, I was shook because listen, y'all, basically when you invest, the money typically doubles every 7 years. And I know this person is wealthy from their background. So I know their parents was putting some good stuff in they noggin. If you don't have a Roth IRA, get you one today. Okay? I'm gonna have to do a video on that too. But again, what you do today affects your future tomorrow. So if your kids are over 15, 16, get them a Roth, get you a Roth. Everybody need a Roth. That's it, that's all.
Here is exactly how I managed to hit 100K in my Roth IRA by age 28. I opened my Roth IRA with Vanguard in 2018, which is the year I graduated college, and I would have been 22 years old at that point in time. 2018 is also the year in which I started my first full-time job and simultaneously started investing in my 401k. We'll come back to that piece. I went back to my Vanguard account and pulled all of my contribution history so I could get you these specifics. So in my Roth IRA in 2018, I contributed $1,900. In 2019, I contributed $400. 2020 was the first year in which I was able to max out my contributions, meaning I contributed the maximum amount allowable by the IRS, which was $6,000. I continued to max out my account in 2021 and 2022. Now, at the end of 2022, I left my corporate job to pursue entrepreneurship and self-employment. So back to the 401k account that I've been contributing to for the past 4 years. At this point in time, I had about $64,000 in that 401k. And when you leave a job, you are eligible to roll over your 401k funds into an IRA, which is exactly what I did. Of the $64,000, about $44,000 of that was Roth 401k contributions. So I rolled that money directly into my Roth IRA with no tax issues or penalties. The remaining $20K in my 401k was traditional contributions, and I still did choose to roll that into my Roth IRA. But because of that conversion from a traditional 401k to a Roth IRA, I was on the hook to pay taxes on that $20K in that year, which I understood and was prepared to do. So in 2022, after rolling over my 401k balance into my Roth IRA, obviously my balance significantly jumped. In 2023, I contributed $2,500 to my Roth IRA, and I actually plan to still do even more because you have until tax time, aka April 15th, to contribute to the prior year's IRA. Along the way, I have chosen to buy and hold index funds inside my Roth IRA, specifically the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, VTSAX. And thanks to that index fund returning more than 24% in 2023, I saw my account balance surpass 100K. At the end of the day, 100K is exciting because it's 6 figures, but it still is also just a random number. What's important is to start investing where you can with what you've got, because time is on your side and it's the most valuable asset you have when it comes to investing.
I am building a stock analysis application with my team, and one of the things that I have to really figure out how to do is to analyze ETFs, index funds, and mutual funds. I have no idea how to do that yet, and at times these funds have a lot of fees associated with them, and so they eat into your profits so much that at the end of the year you only get about 4 to 5% per year. And so I have to really do my analysis and how to rank those index, ETF, and mutual funds. I think that it will really help a lot of people who do not want to buy individual stocks, but instead of individual stocks, they would rather buy a group of stocks, which are the funds. I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.